My name is Michael Goldberg. Let's talk about how you prepare for your interview. Hey, LinkedIn Live Nation, this is Michael Goldberg coming to you live from Brookhaven Country Club in good old Dallas, Texas. Let's hear it. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, hope you're doing groovy today. It's Thursday. It's time for the Job Seeker Hotline Show. So my guest today is All-Star Sourcer, founder, creator of greatness, and he has brought Batman to life better than Val Kilmer, Michael Keaton.
You started with a really low bar there. That was like, you went like...
Well, founder and CEO of Better Job Fit. She is one of my amazing coaches. Wait, where are you? Why am I double? What?
Thank you for bringing your own version of fun to this show.
Hey there, we're taking a brisk weekend walk with Michael Goldberg, LinkedIn content creator herself. Ms. Judy Fox, welcome to the show.
Woo!
Hey everyone, this is Michael Goldberg with tip number 4 of 10 tips in 10 days. I have got a great guest on today, whatever. Well, of course, now I'm the big picture, and that moved. All right. Well, hello and good morning to everybody. This is Michael Goldberg, and welcome to the LinkedIn Live Lunch Hour. Today, we are talking about networking, and I've got a very special guest, and his name is Chuck VanDeweel, and he hails from the great state and city of Dallas and Texas, not necessarily in that order. He is the chairman of the Business Technology Networking Group, which is the topic of our conversation today, networking, and more networking. Chuck, what is up? How are you?
Man, I'm doing well for a Tuesday morning. Thank you very much for having me on your show, and I'm excited to talk about networking.
Yeah, me too. So why don't you tell us? Start off by giving us just a high level overview of your about yourself and what you're doing, and you're a job seeker yourself. So, of course, tell everybody what you're doing these days.
Yes, sir. So I've been in IT for 38 years, believe it or not, and mostly Microsoft based. I started out as a programmer, developer, moved my way into management, senior management, and executive management. And I'm currently seeking a new leadership opportunity with a small to mid-sized organization that's looking for a CIO or CTO or director level or above. I am aspiring for that CIO position, and I've got a lot of competition out there, and I really want to help an organization grow cloud-based, and I have a passion for people and their success. And my motto is, if they're not successful, then I haven't done my job. So that's what I'm looking for, and diligently working through the Corona pandemic and continuing to seek.
Absolutely, and I hope everybody's doing well on your end, and also out there in the LinkedIn Live Nation. So,
absolutely,
let's kind of jump into it. So, you and I, when we first started talking, and we were introduced by Fanny Dunnigan, and we then started to just network more and more. And what we found is that we have this common yearning to really help job seekers out there, or even passive job seekers, try to land their next gig. Tell me about how you kind of fell in love with networking and helping people, and what's your story there?
So, great question. It started in late 2014 when I was seeking for my first job in 22 years, and stepping into the job market was shocking. Although we had internet and we had recruiting firms that had your little apply online button, it was very arduous. It was very time consuming. It wasn't a simple one click back then. Every application that I filled out, I had to fill out the entire application with all of my resume information. It was just time consuming and just brutal. I did land about 6 months later, and I spent 3 years with a financial organization, taking them into cloud technology. And at the end of doing my job and my role with them, they they decided they wanted to be followers, not leaders, and reorged the IT department again. Gave me about a 3 months notice, and I was seeking for a new job in 2017. And that journey was about 11 months long. It was a little easier. Technology was catching up. The apply online was getting better, and but it was difficult. So I had some advice from people that I was networking with. They told me, Chuck, you've got to, not sit at your computer 8 hours a day. You've got to get out there and meet people and let people meet you. So I joined a group called TENG, which is today BTNG, and the acronyms I'm tired of those acronyms, but BTNG is Business Technology Networking Group. We started out with TENG with like 2, 3 people, 4 people showing up for a session. It felt more like an AA meeting. Hi, my name's Chuck. I'm looking for a new job. But the goal was to provide us with resources and opportunities. If you have 4 or 5 job seekers in a room, and we're all looking at all the job recs that are out there, but maybe 50% of them don't fit my role. But I saw something that somebody else is at that meeting, and they go, well, hey, that's my role, like a project manager. I was able to say, hey, I saw this job at company XYZ. You should look into it, and I'll send you the link. So that's the part of networking where you tap into other people's resources, other people's network, other people's knowledge to help you gain a leg up, or understand that there are other positions out there that you may not have been able to find in your searches.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. I mean, I think that's a big part of it, right? It's about giving back. That's what networking is. It's not, and I used to attend a lot of these networking type meetings when you're a job seeker, and one of the recommendations that I make about trying to maintain positive vibes, and when I say positive vibes, I mean trying to keep a positive outlook, right? It's not just networking with other fellow job seekers to learn about other leads, but it's also networking with folks who are actually working, right? I think
Absolutely.
a lot of job seekers out there have this thing stuck in their head is, I need to go to that networking group because I'm going to learn about so many leads. But what if you were to attend ones where people are actually working? It's a much different energy level, much different style than the job seeking meeting groups or networking groups. What's your thought on that? And what are some of the groups that you've been able to tap into of groups that are of people that are actually working versus not just made up of all job seekers?
I 100% agree with you. You have to network outside of the realm of job seekers only. So there are several groups that I also, while I was kind of tapping into this other group and as a member, right? I wasn't the chairman at that time. I was a member, and I was going, as frequently as they were meeting. But at the same time, I was reaching out to people I knew in my network that had other opportunities. Executive Connection is a good one that I could bring up. Kenton Kistler founded this years ago. It is a C-suite organization. It's membership only, and he strives towards bringing executives together to share their leadership experiences. He brings in panel discussions, and it's not just technology based. It's CFOs, CMOs, COOs. It's the entire C-suite. So you're mingling with the leaders in the DFW Metroplex that are actually running these organizations, and that is a great opportunity to tap into their success stories, their processes and procedures that they're putting in place that is bringing that success. Now go to more of a happy approach, which would be Geek Meet. This is a meeting that happens about once a month, and they meet at a restaurant, and you get a couple of drink tickets and some hors d'oeuvres, and you mingle. And this place has a lot of recruiters at it, as well as a lot of people that are employed, and there are some job seekers there. So it's quite a nice mixture of folks to pass your business card out or to link in with them and follow up. I've got dozens of them. I did post a list of job-seeking network organizations in DFW on my LinkedIn posts. I believe you have a copy of that, and I'm working on round 2 with that to put a little more summary information in there so that you can get the gist of, if I go to this meeting, what should I expect? Who's going to be there, and what are they going to talk about? With my experience with all these networks is everybody does something a little bit different. Every one of these groups contribute in a different way. They all challenge you in a different way, which if you're going to a bunch of these, you're just getting bombarded with, how can I improve myself? How can I improve my presence? How can I improve, helping others? And so, I mentioned a passion for people, and the pain that I went through experiencing the technology that was around me and learning how to navigate through all those things and what places I wanted to participate with helped me to see that I should take what I've learned and help others with that. So that's what I've taken all these resources, I tap that into my BTNG presentation, and I bring in guest speakers like Michael Goldberg, who came in and you helped talk about your business, Hiring Transformed, and how networking helps them in their job search. So you're absolutely right. You've got to mix it up. It's not about just going to job seeker, organizations, but you've got to mix up with those people that do have the jobs, because you never know what they're going to say. Hey, I just got a job rec, or they're looking to hire somebody here, and if they can save a fee for somebody and get something done through networking, it's a win-win-win.
So you talk about Geek Meet. You talked about the executive connection. Of course, there's the Who You Know show with Trevor and Foster and Mark.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Transition Point, which is looks like I just a networking group for leaders in transition, and I think that those are key. What are some of the, if you have them, what are some of the go-to events, for sharing, for getting out there? So, you find states like Georgia and of course Texas opening up. It was interesting. I was actually looking at the meetup calendar and the Eventbrite calendars today, and a lot of optimism where people are saying, "Hey, our next meeting is this date, and it's at this time, and oh, by the way, it's no longer virtual; it's here."
Yep.
So come one, come all, and the question is most restrictions say limit to 10 people, right? I think that's going up to like 25 or less. I know the number's going up, I think sometime this week by Governor Abbott, who's the governor of Texas. But there is this forward thinking look at, we're going to be seeing each other face to face within the next month. What's your thoughts on that?
There is a bit of uncertainty. So we're talking COVID, obviously. I go to Walmart every now and then because we need groceries, and I was at the Rockwall Walmart, which is one of the large ones, and I saw 50% of the people had masks on and 50% didn't. All walks of life, all ages, and they've got the markers on the floor. I was going the wrong way down an aisle, and one guy called me out on that, and I'm like, oops, my bad. I'm sorry. I wasn't looking down. I'm looking at the shelves. I'm trying to buy some products here. I'm not used to all these new rules. You walk into, or I look at a church session that was online, and the chairs are spaced 6, 8, 10 feet apart. So instead of having people sitting side by side, you've got this spacing. I agree with what we've done to separate and be responsible in that respect. I mean, I wish I had a crystal ball and I could predict this. I'm not. I hate to say this. I don't fear the coronavirus like some people might. I want to live my life. I want my freedom. I don't want to be told that you can't go here or can't go there. So I'm optimistically cautious. Our church just announced today that they're opening up next Sunday, and I'm glad. I'm ecstatic. I don't know what kind of rules I'm going to walk into if I'm not allowed to sit next to my mother and father that are going to be there. But if they space us out, well, they'll space us out. I think to sum it all up, Mike, I'm stepping into it with optimism, and I'm hoping that
You froze there, Chuck. Hey, Chuck, you there? I lost you. Chuck. We're experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. So I think what Chuck was saying is he's hopeful that optimistically hopeful that things will open back up slowly. We'll kind of get to the new normal, and that our networking events will go on. There you are. You're back.
All right. I'm sorry. Did we both lose the feed, or was that?
No, we didn't lose the feed, but you were completely frozen. So I finished your sentence for you, though.
Okay.
So,
okay. Sorry.
Which you
so
said.
What was the last thing I said?
No, the last thing you said was that you're optimistic that things will kind of get back to normal, and that who knows, maybe we will have.
You're frozen now.
No, I'm frozen. Interesting. Weird. Hold on 1 second. Always some kind of
optimistic.
Optimistic, and then Mary have.
Yeah.
Mary
so we won't know, and the whole country, the whole. I don't think it matters if it's tomorrow or if it's June, July, or August. It's potential that somebody does contract and could spread it again.
Yeah, totally. So can you hear me okay now? Are we coming in okay now?
So, we will know once people start getting back together whether or not it was.
Yeah, it says, Chuck, I'm getting feedback from our audience that's saying it's you that's freezing. It's not me that's freezing. So I don't know if there's a way to open the door or to get something going here. So in fact, I've completely lost him. So hopefully Chuck will join him very soon. So if you want to know about the different networking groups, if you're here in DFW or you're interested in moving to DFW, just DM me on LinkedIn and I'll send you that list that Chuck has put together. Of course, you can also go to his posts on LinkedIn, and we can talk. We can share those. But what I was also wanting to talk to you about, and hopefully, Chuck is definitely. Maybe he'll come back here in a second. But there's also meetups in different parts of the country, right? There's different. You can go on to Eventbrite. You can go to meetup.com, and you can find quite a few technology groups, whether you're in technology or financial groups or business professionals. I Googled meetups for business professionals and got over 9 million hits on Google. So those are some of the things that you can be doing to really get yourself out there. Again, you can spend all the time with the job seeking groups, and that's fine. But you're just going to find the same thing. You're going to hear the same thing over and over again, that everybody's looking for a job. And so the advice that I would give you is you really want to be a part of the groups that have employed people showing up to it, because you want to form connections with them in order for you to land your next job. But I think even after you land the next job, one of the biggest things that I've found, and there are several people that I know of, and I mean, I know I'm guilty of it as well, is hold on, Chuck is texting me. Don't see you. So one of the things that I'd like to do is for you to stop, is to not stop networking with everyone as you're talking, or as once you land a job, because that seems to be what happens. Is we land that job and then we say, yeah, we don't need networking anymore. And let's see if we can add Chuck here back to the screen. There he is. Man, I don't know what happened, but I've been talking about a couple of different things, Chuck. We'll bring you back into the loop. I'm glad you're able to make it back in here.
Thanks.
But basically, we were just talking about, the opportunity to reemphasize, to join back to groups that are of working professionals and network with them. But we also started talking about the different networking groups that exist around the country and where they can go to find those, which again, I had mentioned Eventbrite, Meetup, that have national presences there. What are some of the organizations on the business technology side that has national presence that you know about?
Ooh. Yeah, I'm not sure how many there are. I think South Lake Focus Group is broader than just DFW. Some of these online services that are just on LinkedIn, those are not necessarily just DFW, but if you can participate from anywhere. But I'll tap into who, for instance, they are local, but they're also on LinkedIn. So you can attend their meetings, their sessions, and take advantage of their offerings. The groups that I've associated with myself have either been guest speakers at BTNG, so obviously they need to be local for me. But on the national level, Mike, I would say that if I was actually willing to relocate, which I'm not, I might be looking at that and have a broader scope on that. But unfortunately, I don't. My research this morning with some of these groups did tell me that they are broader than just DFW.
Yeah, no, and I think it's important. When I did, I know that there's. I'll share my screen here. That that Chuck or that Rick Martinez had out there, right? So I'm going to click the share button as everybody can see. You'll see there's different groups out there. There's the APTB, there's ASUG, so the SAP users group that's out there, the Dallas Business Intelligence group. Are you connected through them at all? Do you know anything more detail about that?
So SIM would be a good one as well.
Yeah. There's Dallas Human Resources Association. There are local chapters of a lot of these groups of like Dallas HR, the Design Automation Conference. You want to look to see, by going to these association type events related to what you do in your industry. You want to be able to go out to those association sites and see if they have local chapters. See how active their chapter meetings are by clicking on the events page. That's so important. The DFW, American Marketing Association, the is the ATW, is that, do you know what the ATW is? Supports women in leadership, combination of empowering women in technology. That's great. Right?
Yes. Yeah, I've actually attended one of their meetings a couple of years ago.
Yep. So DFW Data Sciences, DFW TRN, where I'm a board member on, is fantastic. If you're into the healthcare information management space, HIMSS is a great organization, and you should definitely be a part of that. But you can see that he really lists out some good stuff, and as did you, Chuck. When we look at your this is the document, one of the documents he was talking about, that he sits here and he really lists out all the different forums. And there's a couple, if you go to his site and check out his posts, you are going to see, some great networking or great events there. Now, you guys have a big BTNG meeting, right, coming up? Is that right?
Yeah, next Tuesday. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Rick Martinez and Lisa Lowry will be there.
That's right. So, and what's the discussion? Is it about networking, or is it?
They are going to be talking about job tips and tricks, and their title is "Define Your Direction in Times of Uncertainty." So they're going to be looking at this through the coronavirus lens. And I haven't seen their presentation yet, but both Rick and Lisa have been former guest speakers in BTNG, and they're collaborating now and coming back together to talk to the group and give you some tips and tricks.
Definitely. So let's talk about something. And thanks, Sharon. Look at, she said, professional associations are great ideas, even college alumni associations. That's true. And there's ways to go onto LinkedIn and look up different things. I can, if we have time toward the end of the show, we can come back to that, and I can certainly show folks how to do that. So thanks, Sharon. That is, you're absolutely right. So, here's my next question, to you. What do you think about having a networking strategy? Do you think a lot of people have that, or kind of think about networking as a strategy, or do they just think, I'm just going to look at titles on LinkedIn and kind of go through it and, try to connect with people, and they say, hey, I'm networking. What does networking mean in your, in terms of making new connections, not networking as an IT? How do you, what's your strategy behind your networking? How do you go about your networking?
So my strategy is a conglomeration of feedback that I've received from people. You hear many sides of how you should do it. I knew one person on LinkedIn that unfollowed all of his network. He had like 2,000 followers, and he narrowed it down to 150 because there was no interaction between the other 1,900, right? And I see the philosophy behind that. If you're linking with somebody, there should be reason behind it. Side of that, if you're linked in with somebody and there's no activity, but something comes up next month or 6 months from now, or they remember that guy Chuck VanDeweel, I remember somebody named Bob Smith, I reach out, right? Because we had a connection. So there's pros and cons to both. There's different mindsets on it, but I think the more people the more opportunities you have. I'll tap into one of my guest speakers, Billy Lyde. Billy was with, sorry, I'm going to have to pull it, FinFrame, I believe. Yeah, FinFrame. And, Billy is, he's a motivational speaker. He's a leader, and, he's a avid reader, and he came in and my takeaway from his presentation was one thing. It was I like to get a golden nugget whenever I go to these things. That golden nugget was a book called Your 150. And then he explained what that was. If you're at a social event, a networking event with job seekers and those people employed, have a conversation. It's not a let me tell you about myself. No, I want to know you better. I want to know, what's your background? What are your hobbies? What do you like? What's your family business into? Those kind of things. And the 150 concept is that everybody has the capability of storing 150 faces or names by recognition, right? So my 150 is going to start with my family. It's going to extend to my former colleagues. It's going to extend to, my broad network that I have. But your capacity is supposedly right around 150. So conversationally tap into it. If you're looking for, if you're a senior mechanic and you're looking for a job with, Jaguar or Mercedes or something, and you're at a networking event and, you say, hey, so what do you do for a living? Well, oh yeah, well, I'm this, that, and the other. Well, I'm in the the mechanic business, and do you know anybody in that business? And they go, hey, yeah, well, my brother-in-law's in the business. As a matter of fact, he works for, Lexus Soul. And then you've just tapped into an opportunity to meet somebody through his 150 connections, his or hers. And that's the concept behind it. And I just think that networking needs to be broad. You don't need to know every detail about everybody, but if you have a connection and you can recall, their specialty or their background, or maybe a connection that they have, it's to your advantage. That's my philosophy or strategy.
Absolutely. And I kind of like it that, of course, the older I get, the less, mine might be like 75 or 100 people I recognize with faces. But to be honest, he is, what's his name again?
Billy Lied.
Billy Lied. So maybe type his name into the comments on LinkedIn Live. And if you have your phone, just type that in. I'll do some talking while you do that. Type his name in so people can reach out to him. I think, and if he does have a book, maybe put the title of his book there. I think that's great. I think that, from a networking strategy perspective, you're absolutely right. You need to go in, whether you're looking at people, you can connect with the CEOs of all the major organizations, small, medium, and large, if you want. But in the end, if they don't have any activity, how good is that connection? How valuable is that connection to you? Because a lot of people, they look at networking as, unfortunately, the wrong way. They look at it as a one way. What can you do for me? I don't care about, not intentionally, but,
right.
Hey, enough about me. Let's talk more about me. Right. And those are the kind of things that you want to be able to stay away from. So I think your point about looking at your connections and having targeted connections in your targeted companies and through the targeted networking groups that you're focusing on is going to be a whole lot better. I've got like 13,000, close to 13,500 connections. I don't know all of them. I don't even know. I'd say I know maybe one or two, or maybe at best 4% of those connections, like right. The 150 name recognition, or at least face recognition. I can go off of face recognition. Hey, I remember you, and you just say hi, and you go through.
Exactly, right. And what's your name?
Right? Hey, I'm sorry. And look, Chuck, that's a good point. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm sorry, I recognize your face. Do you mind telling me your name again? So that's a very valid point. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I see people in all these different groups, and it's like, okay, I know we met before. I know we spoke. I don't remember where it was. And that's actually kind of fun, because the two of you explore where it was you met and what you discussed. And then you have these aha moments, and then now you're refreshing and catching up. But again, you're reconnecting, which is good. So going back to that strategy, the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is because, and I mentioned this right out of the gate, was all of these networks, all of these opportunities have a different strategy. But if you go in there, and I use the word golden nugget, I go in there and I cherry pick the things that work for me, because we're all unique individuals. We're all wired differently. Some are introverted, some are extroverted, and you've got to tap into your sweet spot, so to speak. And if you hear something that like it jars you, go, man, Fanny Dunnigan, I got to call her out there. Fanny, got me doing videos. And because I'm doing videos, it got me on, LinkedIn exposure. And then I started promoting BTNG through those videos, and ABTP, which is sponsoring my group, right? So I bring people into BTNG so that they get exposure to all these job networks and these different opportunities. So, Rosie's resumes, that was a resume writer. I brought her in so people can see that there are resources out there, and here's one of them, and she's local. Fanny Dunnigan was with Pathlinks, and she's out there doing personal and business branding and marketing. Our two technologies, obviously, Rick Martinez and his recruiting firm. I go down the list here. BuzzPro, Terry Sullivan. Terry Sullivan is a LinkedIn optimizer. He's a genius, and I brought him in. I mean, I already mentioned Billy Lied, and the list goes on. So this list is also posted out there. It's my past BTNG guests, and it's literally giving you a flavor of all the different opportunities that you can tap into. Find your sweet spots. You just can't do everything. You kind of caught me off guard when you went national on me, because I hadn't thought about going national. I'm looking local, but
Right.
you're absolutely right.
It's okay. It's okay.
There's value.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm talking, I want to, this is, while a lot of this we're talking is about the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, it's literally about going to Google and finding ways of different people out there. So, so we've seen over the last couple of months, though I think everybody's experiencing Zoom fatigue, as they call it, even myself. I just look forward to going to a meeting, and whether I can shake somebody's hands or bump elbows and I have to wear a face covering and gloves, you know what? I will, because to me, I thrive off of that face-to-face networking. But we always had. What's interesting is we have always had Zoom as a technology where we could do this, where we didn't have to wait a month to go and be with folks that you want to meet or network with. Right.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point.
Whether it's Zoom or Microsoft Teams or through the miracles of Facebook Live, YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live. Facebook Live, IGTV. There are so many ways to put yourself out there to let people know that you're open to networking. And, and I even think that could be a headline under your name in a profile.
Yeah,
open
absolutely.
Networking, connect with me. But also, I think when it comes to networking, you do have to set some boundaries. What are your thoughts on that?
Well,
and so what kind of boundaries that come to your mind, that where you feel like, all right, I got to draw a box, and before it gets way too expansive.
We didn't talk about this morning, but I thought about this. I looked at my calendar, and I've got a networking meeting on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It just all across. I'm going, wow, I've just like incorporated myself in, and they're all Zoom sessions or team meetings and such. And thank God we had that, because boy, would I be stir crazy without it. But you can't spread yourself too thin, right? If you get involved in too many meetings, then you're maybe doing yourself a disservice. So you've got to look for those golden nuggets. You've got to find your sweet spot. I am a Zoom fan. I just have to say that. But we talked about Kaboli yesterday as we were prepping, and Kaboli is, and I'm just going to read this because Siva Nagalingam is the CEO and co-founder of CloudX Inc. and Kaboli Inc. And ABTP just partnered with Kaboli to use their services, and it is a video service. It's like LinkedIn, but it's a personal profile. And if you look up my name on LinkedIn, Mike Rochelle, who's the CEO and president of ABTP, just posted my Kaboli profile. And what that has on it is, it's basically an interview that he did with me. He asked me 12 random questions about leadership and my style and my superpowers, as he called them. And, it's off the cuff. You go through this process. I think my video was 30 minutes long. So, and then I did a second video, which was a resume walkthrough, which was about 10 minutes long. So if a recruiter sees that, they can actually go to the video. And the cool part of this is it has a keyword search on the right-hand side. You don't have to watch the whole video. If you want to go find out what Chuck said about leadership, you click on leadership, it'll take you to that portion in the video. So it's really cool. You can hop around and spot check answers and questions and get a good feel for the candidate before you even call them for a phone screen. I think it's the next wave of opportunities for people to be known beyond just like what we're doing now, or me with my LinkedIn posts. LinkedIn posts, you want to keep them brief. 1 to 3 minutes max, or you lose somebody's attention. The Kaboli obviously gives you the full depth and breadth of an individual's background, their career path, and their successes and failures, because we talk about, the good and the bad and the ugly. So I'm excited about having that posted out there, and I can actually send that link to recruiters, and they can pull it up and spot check through my profile. So again, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Finish up.
I was going to say again, the opportunities, the resources, the avenues you can go down. You can pick and choose a whole lot of different directions. Just don't try and do everything. You will get overwhelmed, and you'll lose sight of what you're really trying to accomplish, which is finding a new job.
Absolutely. And so I wanted to ask you, so Billy Lai, the person you referred to, I'm trying to look him up on LinkedIn. Is he, what's his headline on his profile? Because there's one that does say writer, author, mentor, University of South Carolina, I believe, or Southern California.
I said he was an active writer. I don't know if he's written any books, but if you look up FinFrame, F-I-N, frame.com, that's the company he works for. Let me see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him on the platform, but don't want to digress too much away. But let me know. We can post that after post event, so you can if you could tag him in the comments after the broadcast, that'd be great.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I think we had talked about overextending yourself, and I think that is. I think that's a big thing that we all, especially if we're trying to find a job, you tend to want to be all over the place and doing this and doing that, and I'll be here and I'll be here, and you're gonna burn out too quickly. So if you're overextending, so your points are spot on. So here's what I'd like to do. I do want to go back to Sharon Lukic and what she talked about, and how to find common connections at a college or university. Let's see here. Do you mind if I do that, Chuck, real quick?
No, I'm learning too.
Maybe you'll learn too. So here we go. You just go. You're at the home screen, right, of LinkedIn. I'm now going to go here and just touch in the. Of course, now it's not working. Here we go. So you can see people, jobs, content, and you can see schools. So you click schools here. And I don't know if it's my LinkedIn or something. Here we go. But something's moving super duper slow. But you can certainly go here and you can look at the different, people of where you would want to find your school. So what I would do is I went to University of Dallas to get my MBA in human resources, right? So it's not the University of Texas, but it's the University of Dallas. You can go to the alumni group here, which maybe this is maybe even larger, or you can go to the actual school. I mean, it's only got 2,600 members.
Right.
But you could certainly see where a lot of these people, if you wanted to, who join, right? So these are all my first connections here, and could start with them in terms of networking. The common opening would be, hey, we both attended the University of Dallas, and I see we both went to the Graduate School of Management, and would love to connect with you and learn more about certain companies. So let's say you have, let's say you want to go to work for, give me a name here. I'll say Baylor Scott and White. We'll use them as an example, right? So we can go to them. And you can view all 16,375 employees, which is, say, pretty good, not a good use of your time. But you can look at the 28 connections who work there. And so you can find different people and where they work and who they are. But going back to, if we went back to the schools here, and I pulled up a certain school, I'd be able to tell. And I'll just go back to, where'd you go to college, Chuck?
Several, Kent State and Richland College here in Dallas.
So Kent State University?
Yes.
All right. So if we go to Kent State University in Ohio, you can see that it has 179,000, almost 180,000 followers. And then you can see employees. Now it says that Dan works here. Okay, who's Dan? I need to say it. So it shows me connections. He's the first connection. He's the associate news editor, print and multimedia, transport topics and stuff. He's a first connection that went to that particular school. But if you then wanted to connect with more people through Kent State University, you could certainly, it has the followers here, but you would want to obviously hit follow, because now you're a follower. And now once you're following it, you'll see when you go to your homepage where some of your connections are from. And this happens more on the what's it called? And by the way, Samuel Terry, hello. It is Keboli. It is Keboli. Is that right?
Keboli, yes.
Keboli at Samuel Terry. I haven't talked or heard from Samuel Terry in so long. It's good to hear from him. He and I work together at BDO Seedman. He's a good guy. So, so basically, it's a looking at different universities, finding different search results. And you could even do Google searches here, and we'll just show that. And then I'll stop. But you could put, you could do IT or BT for if they have it spelled out, or then you could do and Kent State University. You put this in brackets or in parentheses, and then you go and then you do the search here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can find it, and it's going to hopefully pull up quite a few. It talks about their program, but then, IT or BT, I guess what you would say is professionals. You can put quotes here. Well, actually, you have to put brackets, and then what you also want to do is you want to X-ray the site. So you're going to go site : www.linkedin.com/in, and then and so basically what that does is it cuts out. It's now going to give you names of people, and I got 729 results of people that went to Kent State, that are part of possibly the IT program, BT photography, that could be the name. So you got to weed out the false false positives. So just something to show you. Certainly, if you want more tips and tricks, I could do a whole LinkedIn Live showing you different stuff.
Well, that was pretty good. You did a SQL query and you just showed everybody how to navigate through Google. I use a similar process. First of all, I find the target company. I find it, if they're hiring and they've got a job rec that meets my qualifications. I look at the target company. I immediately go to their website on LinkedIn and people, and find people that I'm already connected with. If I don't find anybody that can help me, usually I can find one or two people that I'm associated with. But if I can't, I then try to narrow that search down to HR personnel, and reach out to them through LinkedIn, letting them know I found a job at your location and I'd like to link in and discuss it with you. So, personal introduction, not just go and apply online. I like to do the introduction before I apply online, so that if I do get a quick answer or connection back, I can then say, what would be the best method for me to do this? And obviously they always tell you to apply online, but I can also send them, give me your email and I'll send you my documents directly to your inbox.
Absolutely.
So again, everybody has a different sweet spot, and everybody has a different method to the madness, but these are exactly what you want to see. What you just did is what you want to experience with all these different networks. Is that your golden nugget? Man, if you like doing Google searches and understanding how to build those queries properly, and you have a really targeted approach to finding a person, a place, or a thing, then that's a great way to do it. And some people are really wired that way.
Yeah,
I think that was great.
But even the people that aren't wired this way should look at it. And certainly, if anybody, one of the things that I'll be doing out there in terms of resources, and for those that come and work with me from the job seeking placement or from, when things go back to normal, I go back to my recruitment consulting, it's showing you how to be a user of Boolean search on Google to find candidates, to find networking opportunities out there. There's just different ways that you can do it. Be persistent, and if you certainly want to learn some tips and tricks, feel free to DM me and be happy to help you. As far as the working people that are watching this broadcast, and you need, whether it's a fractional CIO or a full-time CIO, you're staring at the guy that's going to help you and be successful at you. And Chuck, I can't say how much I appreciate what you've done to help promote the job seekers in the DFW area, folks like myself and Fanny and I forgot the gentleman's name who runs the Executive Connection. You've done so much and give back, and you don't expect anything in return. And I think that says a lot. Unfortunately, a lot of people do expect things in return, and people like yourself and Mike Rochelle and quite a few others that I'm connected to are valuable connections to me and to this network. If you aren't connecting with Chuck VanDeweel, you need to be connecting with him today after you watch this broadcast, or even before you watch the broadcast. And Chuck, we're up here on time, so
Okay.
I really appreciate you being a part of this. Is there anything else, any closing thoughts or comments that you'd like to share out there?
I'm flattered with your comments. I appreciate that very much. And yes, I am seeking my next leadership opportunity. So if you'd like to discuss that with me, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. And Michael, I'll get you that Billy Lyde contact. And Michael, thank you. You're part of my connection. You're part of my network, and you're part of the reason that we're doing what we're doing. And back at you for everything you said at me. You've got a passion for people just like I do, and we want to help. Just if we can help a little bit and steer you in a direction that you hadn't thought of before, that's going to help you speed up that process, then that's what we're giving back on. So thank you very much for having me on your show. It was a pleasure and an honor, and good fortunes to you in the future, my friend.
Thank you so much. I want you to stay on here after I end the broadcast.
Okay.
We'll catch up here. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning into LinkedIn Live Lunch Hour.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll be back tomorrow at 1:00 Central Time. We're going to start a new LinkedIn Live called Job Seeker Journey. So if you want to share your journey with us, feel free to DM me or shoot me an email at michael@hiringtransform.com. We'd love to have you on that show. We're going to start that up. So that'll be airing tomorrow at 1:00. So stay tuned for that. And just if you're a job seeker and you need help, we're going to be, the goal is to share ideas of what's working for others and how it might be able to help you. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great day. Stay separated. Stay indoors if you can, no matter how pretty it is outside, or just hang out on your lawn or by your pool and wear a mask. Good luck, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.